Hi guys, I wanted to come on and speak about the 64 Doors, which is the new project that I'm doing with Ashley and Melinda and that I'm really excited about. So basically it's a website where we are going to have all the gene keys and all the gates, and we're opening one door every transit. So every 6 days you're going to have a new door opening. Behind the door there's going to be resources from human design and the gene keys. And the unique perspective is that we're really bridging these two systems. So instead of looking at the differences, we're really weaving the system and showing you how the value is so big when you use both together. You've probably heard me speak for quite a while now about how I use the systems together and how for me it's so logical to use them together. For me, human design is the more masculine way, the more left brain way, where you have strategy, authority, type, motivation, and you really give you kind of a logic clear way of understanding your design and of making decisions and living your design. Whereas the gene keys are a much more feminine approach, a much more right-brained approach, a more creative approach, where it's more like a poetic storytelling, where you cannot really go wrong. You can live out your profile in the lower frequency or the higher frequency, and nothing is wrong. So it's a much more embracing, a much more feminine way of looking at it. For me to have those two sides to look at it from makes much more sense, and you don't get stuck in only one system, only one approach. You really always have that weaving and that dancing of both sides. And I'm really excited of like really going in with that purpose of bridging and of seeing how much they can actually add value to each other instead of being kind of in competition. So when we are opening the doors, it's also nice because there are going to be goodies behind the doors as well. So we are going to have interviews, we're going to have articles, we're going to have links, want to have informal conversations with people that are into the gene keys or human design about how there can be more understanding by using both systems instead of more competition. So more collaboration instead of more competition. And I feel like this is really, really in line with my vision and probably my being a 6-line being as well. It's so much closer to my truth than what I sometimes see out there in the groups, or if I sometimes post gene key post in a human design group or the other way around, and then I get some comments like this is not this or this is not that. And for me it's just, well, if I had just changed the word gate from gene key and written exactly the same thing, nobody would have said anything. So it's just it's absolutely not to provoke for the sake of provoking, but it's really just to open up some of the narrowness that is out there and to see how this approach can actually be so valuable. Because for me to look at the human design and see how the energy moves in the body, understand the open centers and understand how the not self can function and how we can live completely from conditioning from the outside and pressure from other people instead of living from our true self. So it's really kind of showing us in a very clear way from that body graph where kind of the risks are and where our true definition is. And then kind of doesn't take us like to the really like the spiritual realm. It doesn't really take us to so much self-acceptance. It doesn't really take us anywhere more than to kind of the choicelessness of life and the design that we have been given. And that's when the gene keys come in. There is like so much more, for me, so much more hope, so much more excitement, because it's speaking about so much more than just like living life with more freedom, which can be everything. But it's also, we include the higher chakras, you include the heart, you include your true voice, you include your sixth, your third eye, and you include all the fourth to the seventh chakras. Everything becomes so much more interesting to me. And also the subtle bodies and the other realms, and we have all that in the gene key. So it's like it's also a very normal journey to want to do. And also now that the star pearl is coming out, and we're even going to add another sphere to the gene keys, which are all the same gates that we're taking from human design. We're adding them to the gene key profile, and we're going to have this Merkaba that is going to be created in the pearl sequence, that is really kind of vehicle to higher states and to to go into places that we haven't been before, both in our life here and now in this reality, but also opening up to other experiences beyond here in our multi-dimensionality. So I'm just really, really excited about this project, and I want to just invite you to be part of it. And if you are into human design or the gene keys, for example, if your life's work, for example, let's say it's the 14th gene key, then I would love you to contact me, and when we are in gate 14, we could have a conversation on what it is, for example, to have this gene key as your life's work. Or if you feel like you're really embodying a gene key or a line, it would be really beautiful to have a conversation about that. And also conversations that are more like, do you work with both? Why do they go together? Or why don't they go together? Like, it's all these things are beautiful to discuss. And it's so much in conversation. I feel like we can make sense of it. So thank you, everybody. And I hope to have you behind the doors. Bye.